Hi everyone, and welcome to Mama's Soul Food and my silly predictions for the year ahead. I do want to say one thing, that most of my predictions are really about and for me. I hope, however, you might resonate with some of them. My predictions align with my intentions because we are the creators of our reality. So, what do you want to predict is what you want to create. And if I could take a minute to even make predictions on anything beyond my own life, which of course is just kind of like a game of crapshoot, craps. Throw the dice, see what happens. But we do know this. People who are in power and who are the power brokers in the world will continue to do everything they can to hold on to their structures of power. Because power is of the ego. And the ego hates to lose. In fact, the ego either hates to lose or thinks it's the biggest loser. So the ego is everywhere in the world around us, and that isn't changing. The ego in our lives also struggles to relinquish its power, right? Even in the fears that we hold on to for ourselves, the beliefs that we don't want to let go of, the inability to forgive, the inability to say, I'm sorry, the unwillingness to change, the fear of losing everything that you've worked for. The ego, the ego, the ego. So what is going on around us isn't that different than what is happening within us. But at the end of the day, both are scenarios that we change through what we intend and what we create. So prediction number 1, I'm going to predict that the chaos in the external world will continue to get worse. In fact, we might even see things get crazier and crazier and crazier. Of course they will. We have violent people in charge of our country. Of course they will. And we have, non-moral people involved in most of the world. Of course they will. But we will also see light bearers. And those light bearers, maybe you of which you are, will grow in momentum. I can see it in my life, in the various communities I'm involved with online. You can feel it ramping up. You can, in the spiritual communities I'm in, it's almost like a disregard to the bullshit. It's almost like it can't even be seen. That is how powerful the inspiration is ramping up. The inspiration to live in truth with who we are as people and in harmony with others around us. The golden rule, treat myself how I want to be treated. Treat you how I want to be treated. It's the golden rule for myself and for others. The momentum of change within, I'm telling you. Which, of course, is the feminine aspect of life. We have the male aspect, which we've been mastering for 10,000 years. And this inner aspect, this inner life, it's not going away. In fact, the thirst for it will ramp up. Why? Because everything that we have at our disposal doesn't fill that thirst, quench that thirst. Anyways, I guess that's my way of saying the nonsense will continue because we live in a matrix of nonsense. But me, I'm just going to hold the energy of change for a bigger collective and purpose. And I'll never shop because that's all I have to work with is the change within myself. I did want to say that part of the change I want to see is one of joy. And for a long time, I didn't have joy. Only because that's life. You know, sometimes we have to process what is moving through us. But that reclamation of joy has kind of always been important to me because my joy factor was sort of something that I really liked. So as I kind of feel myself getting regrounded in things and I've always felt like I've always been positive, but joy. And I find great joy in this inner life thing. I find great joy in the beauty of the external life. But since joy is actually, it might be my word for the year, I think it's where I want to experience God more. I want more joy. So, on that note, I'm going to give you a visual image to take into the new year. Since the chaos isn't changing, and the only thing that can really shift us beyond the nonsensical is this joy within. So, I'll probably make it into a little meditation, but for now, I'm just going to give you an idea to sit with. In your own life, in your own spiritual experience with God, or even with your own inner life experience, your soul self, there's an image of the kind of experience it should be. Yes, we all know what it means to go deep and to suffer and to have experiences that cause us to do the deep work of the shadow. Super important stuff. But this year, let's amp up that joy. And here's the visualization. For me, my experience in connecting to God and the inner life with joy is best accomplished by imagining somebody opening a door and suddenly about 6 puppies come rushing in. Labradors, pugs, I don't know, whatever your favorite puppy is. I probably would pick a blonde lab, and it would just go rushing in. All those little puppies, they would be you would be it, and they come rushing up to you, and they're licking, and they're peeing on you, and they're so excited, and they're just, it's so much. You feel all of their joy come rushing at you, and you can't help but want to love every one of them, and you just want to hold them and cuddle them and don't want to leave any of them out, and everything is just embrace. I think that's how it should be with God. That, or even with our inner self, that I love you so much. let me just consume you. Let me just be all over you. And let it go both ways. I predict there will be more joy because we'll be looking for it. We'll be asking for it. We'll be knowing we're worthy of it. And we'll open the door for ourselves. On that note, I'm going to use a different set of cards. Let's see what oracle symbol will be given to us today. For the next 3 months, because we are in winter time in Northeast Ohio, I'm taking a candle and I'm going to burn 1 candle a month. I mean, I'm not going to have it on all night, but of course I'm going to burn it and ask myself a question every month. And that question is, how am I going to create the divine spark in my life? How am I going to create the divine spark in my life? And if that means I have to go to the pet shop and go visit pets and hold puppies, then that's how I'm going to do it. In the midst of that winter, look at that beautiful baby being born with those dolphins. This is a very powerful oracle card book written by Anne Brawley Emerson in Sedona, Arizona. I will reference it below. It's called The Passionate Journey. And I have promised myself that in order for me to go beyond my limits, I'm going to read books that push me beyond my limits. And Anne's work does. So, I'll read a little bit of it. Rebirth. First, there's a poem. She swims in memories of all she has been and who she is becoming once again. The wisdom of the universe dances just past knowing. Her life's breath giving power to change the world. A child floats peacefully in space, suspended between heaven and earth. Dolphins swim in space with her, assisting her in adapting to the physicality of this dimension. She carries the knowledge of the cosmos in her DNA as it is symbolized in the night sky and bud-like structures that surround her. The earth has a spiral surface that draws her downward to welcome her into life. All is in readiness for her return as she shifts from one dimension into another. Every personal act of growth moves you into a new dimension of growth, a new spiritual, mental, and energetic dimension. I'm just adding on. This is the growing and waiting period. between conception and birth. Rebirth is the energy of building. To become human, we must take the time to build a structure that can hold our vision, our gifts, and our expression, like the time and effort it takes to build a body. This is another form of patience. The creation of form. It takes as long as it takes. And that is an immutable law of nature. It takes as long as it takes. This card reminds us to prepare well, use the best materials to create with, and don't skimp on structure. We can apply this rule to every aspect of our life's expression. Well, folks, let us prepare well, because there is a birth that is happening. And you can take all the naysayers of the world, of the doom, of the conspiracy theorists, but nothing changes the nature, the loving nature, and the thirsting requests from our souls. The loving nature of God and the thirst of our souls, right? At least those are things that I've seen in my lifetime. We're always looking for connection, and we're always looking. Well, predictions from Madam Yorga have been issued. We're entering a time of rebirth. I'm ready. Aren't you? I'm feeling a lot of people who are ready. Happy New Year.